Hello everyone. So in this today's extraordinary discussion, we are going to discuss about the Goethe's statement about what actually flowers are. We are going to understand are flowers are actually modified shoots. So let's go with the flow. Uh, let's first understand about the Goethe's statement. Goethe in his early experiments concluded that flowers are actually modified shoots. Now how he was saying that? Let's first understand what is shoots. What do you understand by shoots? Yes, exactly, you are right. Shoots are aerial part of the plant. Aerial parts of plant. Now what do you observe in the aerial parts of the plant? You observe mainly two things. The first thing is the leaves, and the second thing you observe is stems. And when you combine these both terms, you get what your meaning of shoots. So Goethe in his early experiments concluded that there are 4 nodes are present on the thalamus part of the flower. So let's first label these parts. The lower part of the flower which connects the flower with the plant is known as the pedicels. This is the petals. The calyx region is called as the sepals. In the upper structure, the female part carpel, the male part as stamen. Carpel is a representation of megasporophyll, as you can remember from the gymnosperm study. Megasporophyll. And the stamens represents the microsporophyll. Now here you got some idea about these two terms. There is a use of two terms fill here. Fill himself represents the leaf. So you are guessing where direction we are going. So Goethe concluded that there are 4 nodes present on the thalamus part of the flower. This is the thalamus, which also contains nectar. Okay. So on these 4 nodes, there is a growth of floral whorls. What is means by whorls? It means the part of flower. So on these nodes, all the parts of the flowers takes growth, and you know very well that nodes are the place from where the leaves take growth. So that means all these floral whorls you are observing are the leaves. Yes, exactly. And you also can guess because there is a use of terms fill here. Fill generally stands for the leaves. We use word like chlorophyll. So these are actually the part or derivatives of leaves. So Goethe concluded that all the floral whorls growing from these nodes region are called as the floral whorls, and they are all called to be a leaf part of the plant. Pedicels generally termed as the stems. So Goethe finally concluded one thing also, that these nodes are very small, along with very diminished. And when they are diminished, you cannot see by naked eyes. Can't see by naked eyes. But these are the primary source for the growth of all these floral whorls. So what Goethe has concluded that the leaf part called the carpels, stamens, etc., and the stem part called pedicels they combine to give flower. So flower is actually a modified shoot. Now scientists all over the botanist asked Goethe that how can you say that flowers are actually modified shoot? If we are not able to visualize these nodes, how can you visualize these nodes? So in the next segment we are going to discuss about the evidences given by Goethe in favor of his statement. Now when Goethe asks about to find and to give the evidences, Goethe starts searching for the species of the flowers which have different kinds of the elongations. In the series, Goethe searched many species of the flowers and he found 4 different kinds of flower having different elongation between their nodes. Starting with the flower that is the silene plant. Silene plant. In the silene plants, he observed elongation between the corolla and the calyx. And this elongation is going to be termed as the anthophore. Elongation between this calyx and this corolla. In the next flower, that is the pisiform flower, he found elongation between the gynoecium and this gynoecium, androecium and this corolla. This is going to be known as the endophore. Let me tell you a clear thing. This androecium node and gynoecium node both are present very close to each other. So we generally consider both these nodes when concluding this endophore. But the primary role between this elongation is of this androecium node. So we can consider this node is androecium node and this node as the corolla node. So elongation is actually present between the androecium node and the corolla node. So this is endophore. This elongation is termed as the endophore and it is found in the pisiform flower. Third can be a capress flower. In the capress flower, you will find elongation between the gynoecium node and the androecium node. This type of elongation is termed as the gynophore. So this is found in capress plant. The next type of the flower observed and experimented by Goethe is the Cleomgynandra. Cleomgynandra. It is also termed as the Shona cabbage, also termed as the wild cabbage. So he found surprisingly here two nodes gapping. The first gap is between the gynoecium and androecium nodes, and the second elongation between the corolla and androecium. So he collectively termed both gaps as the androgynophore or gynandrophore. Gynandrophore is actually androphore plus gynophore. So these are the examples of the proof of there are the presence of the nodes, and from those nodes the growth of different floral parts takes place. But there is still it is not established that there is actually these parts are the growth of the leaf, or they can be said to be leaf. So Goethe again searched a flower and he found in the Musandri family the flower is very small. Very small flower is present. So when flower is very small, its petals are going to be very small. So when there is a petals are very small, then it needs much effort to get easily pollinated. So for the pollination, it requires something to attract the insects to get easily pollinated. So the sepals here are modified into leaves. These are sepals, and these sepals modifies himself or herself in leaves. which was a clear establishment of Goethe's statement that flowers are actually modified shoot, and in a flower, the floral whorls or floral parts except pedicel represents the leaves, and pedicel itself represents the stem part, and collectively a flower is actually a modified shoot. So this is the statement and evidence of Goethe. It is too interesting to discuss this thing, so we had discussed here.